City Council meeting, Maitland City Council meeting of January 12, 2026. If you would please remember to silence your phones and other devices. And anybody who wishes to speak this evening, we have an open public comment period. If you wish to speak, it would be helpful if you would fill out a speaker card for us. And they should be out in the lobby. There's also speaker cards up here at the podium. If you don't have too much, just your name. So we get it spelled right for the record. And we can move things more quickly that way. And to begin this evening, as we usually do, I wish you would join me for a brief moment of silence so we can center ourselves. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Now, if you would please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first order of business is a little unusual. We are going to recess the meeting and reconvene as the Community Redevelopment Agency, which is something we do. It won't take very long. But the City Council plus another representative sits as the Community Redevelopment Agency for certain items that are downtown. We have before us as the CRA the consent agenda. Does any member of the CRA wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Does anybody have any, this is for the public at large, does anybody have any comment on consent agenda item number 2 for the Community Redevelopment Agency package? Seeing none, let's close the public comment period and bring it back to council and CRA, and a motion will be in order.
I move that we approve the CRA consent agenda as presented tonight.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Lauren, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Cheney.
Aye.
Councilmember French.
Aye.
Councilmember Randolph.
Aye.
Councilmember Guthrie.
Aye.
Mayor Lott.
Aye. Okay. Let us adjourn the CRA meeting. I promised that would not be painful. And now we are back as the City Council of Maitland. And we'll carry on with the City Council agenda as it's written. Mr. Regantine, is there any old business to report?
No, sir.
Okay. Now we have a consent agenda for the Maitland City Council. Does any council member wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Okay, does any member of the public have any comment on items 2 through 4 of the City Council consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, let's close the public comment period for the consent agenda. If there are no more issues with this, we could entertain a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Laura, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Guthrie.
Aye.
Councilmember French.
Aye.
Councilmember Cheney.
Aye.
Councilmember Randolph.
Aye.
Mayor Lott.
Aye. Okay, we have approved consent agenda. Now we are on to the public comment period. The public period, we have 3 speaker cards so far. That doesn't foreclose anybody's opportunity to speak. If anybody would like to fill out other cards to come up as we go through, that would be welcome as well. But I will call the first 3 people who have a speaker card. The first person is Joe Forshee. Is Joe Forshee with us? Joe, if you wouldn't mind, at the podium right there, and I think the mic is warmed up for you.
Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Joe Forshee, Maitland resident for over 30 years, residing at 840 Gamewell Avenue. And again, I'm not planning on going into details about the seating number and inside this infrastructure. Yes. Can you hear me okay? Or maybe keep it
A little bit better, yes.
Okay, all right, don't do this every day for you guys. So, again, my goal here was not to really go over the infrastructure saga that we're dealing with for Greenwood Gardens. That's where my neighbors and myself are here to discuss and to cover. My discussion concerns regarding protecting the most vulnerable road users, that's the young people on their scooters, their bikes, skateboards, joggers. We have all these people coming through our neighborhood. The school kids riding both directions, going to and from Orangewood and Maitland Middle School through our neighborhood. Highlighting that a lot of these older kids now are riding electric e-bikes, electric bikes and electric scooters going pretty fast along with the traffic. Again, prior to the closure of Marion Way, which is being done for the infrastructure upgrade, I would have to repeatedly report speeders and stop sign runners through our neighborhood, since our neighborhood would be a cut through to get to both the office building on the corner of Marion Way, the JCC, which is across the neighborhood from us, and then those trying to beat traffic, trying to get to Maitland Boulevard. Now with the new detours that might be impacting us, the sign says February 7th, this is an ever-changing number, date. There's now nonstop traffic during weekdays routed from the office building onto Marion Way and then onto Gabriel and Robin Hood, because it's a big loop through there. In many cases, catching people just, they're frustrated trying to get to the disappointment wherever they're trying to get their children to. They're going well over the posted speed limit of our neighborhood that's only 20 miles an hour. So, again, as a city, we need to do better, especially when Gainwell now has also been designated as a bike path, connecting our city parks together. Also, from my layman calculation, Gainwell itself, the south part where my house resides, south of Marion Way, only measures about 17 feet from side to side. And if we were to adjust that, it's probably 25% narrower than most of our neighborhood streets. So it's pretty narrow. If you were to look at the size of SUVs these days. So Greenwood Gardens deserves equal attention to traffic enforcement as well as what we say traffic management. Top of mind for me are digital speed limit signs showing your speed that people come through. They just totally miss the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit that's posted. Calming features, again, most cities are aware of these type of features such as ramps, textured raised areas. We have a little spot that's called Bridle Path that's also part of the walkway/bike path. Putting some texture there, even a stop sign would help out. Just to mention a few suggestions, we're open to having more productive conversations. We're just looking to calm the traffic that comes through our neighborhood, slow it down. We dog walkers. I walk my labs. People know me. In my neighborhood, I walk my dogs a couple times a day, and constantly having to move out of the way from people speeding down, just trying to get from point A to point B. So it gets a little hairy. Again, so I know we're time restricted here, but my closing comments regarding traffic issues affecting our neighborhood. This is kind of like the elephant in the room for most of us. When the city determined to restrict traffic flow here on Horatio Ave, this caused more traffic to funnel onto that road that's called East Sebelia Avenue. And that was probably forecasted. Prior to this Marion Way closure, it was difficult at best for us to get onto East Sebelia Avenue during the peak rush hours, just on normal days. Now that the closure of northbound Maitland Avenue and Marion Way, we're held captive to that gridlock, which is East Sebelia. So my neighbors and I, we actually decided to walk. It was actually much quicker for us to walk here and then to try to get in our cars and drive here. So we're, again, a couple blocks away. The traffic light on East Sebelia, I think we're all aware of this. East Sebelia is 1792. Basically, that's short cycle. If you try to get across that intersection, you're going to be there for several cycles. And even worse, when the sunrise trains cause that light to stay green or red. Again, I know it's not our light for the city, but I'm sure we have people that we can work with within Florida Department of Transportation that can work with us. I also talked to the gentleman that works with the city manager, talking about some of these suggestions. And conversely, if we decide to risk crossing Maitland Avenue right now from Sebelia, it's a major undertaking and a pretty scary proposition. I don't know how many of you have tried it so far recently for the past week or so. And we have been advised by the city on whether these traffic and overall safety issues are being addressed. I reached out to the police department, the gentleman I talked to led the area when I called him on Monday when all the signs went up. He mentioned that he was not even aware that this was occurring last Monday, a week ago today. I even reached out to the project lead that's on the contracting company that's doing the infrastructure work. And he was advised, according to his statement, that it was up to him to make sure all the detour signs and everything was put in place. So in closing again, I request the city does better for all Maitland residents and the other road users. They're just trying to work their way through the maze to their final destination. I mean, we're all part of this. It's not just, obviously we feel it because we're residents, we feel it every day, but just as folks too, trying to get to and from their doctor's appointments. JCC had a gentleman the other day trying to get to the JCC. He didn't know that he had to go all the way around Sandspur and back around. And I've seen people off of Sandspur that also are being impacted by this. So we're just looking for the city to do better for all residents, everybody, to come to a solution and have a better understanding how it impacts us all.
Thank you, Mr. Fortune.
Thank you.
Okay, I think the next person up is Michael Dabby. 605 Waverly Lane. And just to remind people that we have a 3-minute clock here, and if we can keep our comments to 3 minutes, I appreciate it. We have traffic light, it's kind of apropos, but Mr. Dabby's well acquainted with it, I am.
Michael Dabby, 605 Waverly Lane. I actually timed this so that I wouldn't be moving in 3 minutes. I hope I can speak as fast as that. Good evening. My name is Michael Dabby. You may know me. I'm a 40-year resident of Maitland, a lifelong real estate practitioner, an appraiser, broker, and consultant. For many years, I've been active in city affairs with appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission for the Zoning Adjustment, Transportation Advisory Board, liaison from the Planning and Zoning Commission to the Transportation Advisory Board, as well as several ad hoc committees. The reason I'm telling you this is because I'm concerned about a proposed real estate development that's likely to adversely affect our residents. As you may be aware, the Hoston building on One More Road is approaching completion, and as you may have already read in the paper, the surrounding 117 acres Hungerford property is proposed to be developed as a mixed-use project consisting of housing, educational, and medical facilities, and a hotel with a conference center. As you may also be aware, in addition to the proposed development, Kennedy Boulevard west of I-4 will be widened and extended to meet with Clarkona Curry Road. This project will provide additional sorely needed east-west access in the region, as well as bring more traffic to One More Road, Kennedy Boulevard, Lake Avenue, and Maitland. These developments will likely overwhelm and add to an already overburdened transportation infrastructure, particularly on One More Road, perhaps to a lesser extent, like Destin Road, Lake Avenue, Kennedy Boulevard, and still I-4. Traffic at the intersections of these roads and Lake Avenue and Orlando Avenue are already over capacity and will be further impacted and burdened as these projects develop. May I suggest the city join hands with Eatonville, Winter Park, and the county to motivate the county to widen One More Road. It's not on the 5-year plan there. And improve intersection turn movements at the earliest possible date. These developments also will impact these communities as there is, it's screwed up here, there's already a need to provide relief to Kennedy Boulevard, Lake Avenue, east of I-4. I don't know if any of you people have been here long enough to know about the ad hoc and the widening of Lake Avenue, Kennedy Boulevard back in the late 80s, early 90s. I was on one of those ad hoc committees. In my professional opinion, in lieu of widening this road, which was proposed in the late 80s, and is unlikely to ever occur, I propose relief can come in the form of extending Monroe Avenue from its current terminus westerly to meet One More Road just south of the Hoston property. I have a map I'd like to provide that to you as part of this presentation. I've been suggesting such an improvement for over a decade, and time is now right for the city to meet with Eatonville, Winter Park, and Orange County, plan to develop this legal road to facilitate the traffic movement to and from these and other projects such as Rada Dodge. I also wish to volunteer to be on any ad hoc committee that may be created and appointed by the City Council to study, provide insight and direction to mitigate and ameliorate the impending traffic impacts to the area. being, of course, Maitland, Moore Park, Eatonville, and unincorporated Orange County. So instead of being reactive, I'm trying to beat that, instead of being reactive after the impacts overwhelm us, I implore the city to be proactive and create a multi-municipal effort to improve traffic flow and protect this area of Maitland, Eatonville, and Winter Park. Your foresight will be greatly appreciated for generations to come by countless people, businesses, and institutions. I apologize for that. Sorry about that. Just to, may I?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Dad. You have a map, that'd be helpful.
Mike, you almost beat the clock. You almost beat the clock.
Almost. If I didn't have that introduction and saying that practice this week.
Hey, question for you. I
Thank you.
thought they were widening Weimar all the way to the overpass. Is that not correct?
To the best of my knowledge, there are no plans, there's nothing on the CIP by the county to widen the road or do anything with it, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dad.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another speaker, Adam Smith. We have Adam Smith here.
Hello, my name is Adam Smith. I live at 960 Gainwell Avenue. First of all, I own a construction company. I'm a general contractor, and this project just ran absolutely horribly. I leave my office. My office is in Altamont, half a mile away. I usually leave at 4:14 every day. And I come home. I'm going to walk my dogs past the job site about 4:30 to 5 o'clock every day for 4 months. Nobody is even working past 4 o'clock. I want to understand, do you guys, well, I want to see who's in charge of the contracts with this contractor. Do you guys have LDs, liquidated damages built into this contract?
Which contract?
The contract for the undergrounding. Because Maitland Avenue and Marion. Yeah. And because if they had liquidated damages, there would be a timeline, and this would have been done months ago. I mean, and if you did have liquidated damages in your contract, it's extremely poor running the whole project. Why do we not have police officers at exit Gainwell onto Lake Sibilia? And why do we not have police officers during rush hour at Maitland Avenue? I mean, my office is a mile away from me. Usually it takes me about 40 minutes to get to my office, just because there's about 15 cars leaving Gainwell. And then you can't turn left because it's blocked on Lake Sibilia. It's just so poorly run. And any normal city would just have a police officer. They're not doing anything. It's Maitland. There's not much crime. Just get somebody to go help out for an hour in the morning or afternoon. I mean, every single person I know complains about this that drives through the city. Yeah, why aren't they working past 4? Why aren't they working on weekends? Why wasn't this done during the summer? I don't understand. Yeah, my wife went to the Maitland clinic, the admin, and they were saying that the city of Maitland didn't even notify them that this was going to be done. The only reason we know is because we got a little flyer in the mail in Greenwood Gardens, but nobody in the whole city had any idea that this huge project was going to be started. Still, there's not enough signs showing this is closed to deter traffic. There's other stuff we're going to talk about for different topics, but it's not for tonight. I just really want to know why this is being so poorly ran and how we can get this fixed. There's a lot of things we could do tomorrow that would make this a lot better. So can we please just figure out a game plan to help out our neighbors and help people trying to get through Maitland? So, I would like to know about that.
Okay.
The damages in the contract.
We can ask, yeah, to find out. I'm certain there are, but we can ask. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Does anybody else miss it? Mr. Smith, I just want to make sure, are you talking about the recent closure, or are you talking about the Marion Way thing that's been going on for a while?
Well, things have been going on for 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah, but it started in August, but it shouldn't. I walk by, sorry, keep talking, I walk by there every day, and there's nothing even going on.
Right, I just want to make sure, clarify which one you were talking about. I got it, so thank you. All right, is there anybody else who has any comments?
Hi, I'm Daniel Thomas with the Art and History Museums of Maitland, and we're kicking off our 2026 season, so I just wanted to let you know what we have coming up over the next couple of weeks. We open our next exhibition on January 23rd, so next Friday is The Situated Body, which features the work of Jacobo Alonso. He's a Mexican artist who did a 2-week residency with us in the fall, so he's coming back on Monday. He's going to be with us through the installation, and he's going to be with us on the opening night. So he'll be a part of our VIP happy hour tour, and he'll be there for questions, so I hope you all can make it. If you aren't able to make it, our curator will also be leading a private tour of it on the last Wednesday of this month as part of our free Last Wednesday After Hours event. And we will also be showing the work of Q Swamp and Cicero Greathouse, the funders who are the namesake of our new education studios in the Orange County Council Chambers. That opens on January 29th. It's going to be up through June. So it should bring a lot of great press for that project, which is going great. We have floors in half of the walls now, so very exciting. And then for anybody with little ones and their families, our next free family day event is going to be on Saturday, February 7th. So I hope to see you there.
I just drove by on my way here.
Yeah.
The project's coming along beautifully.
Yeah, it's coming along fast too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danny. Okay, do we have anybody else, any other comments? Public comment period.
I'm not in the car, but I'm Lori. I'm with the Maitland Chamber.
Oh, just come on up here, Lori.
Come up here, Lori.
Your voice isn't that loud. We're gonna have to use a little microphone on you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Lori, I'm with the Maitland Area Chamber of Commerce, and I just, Mark, thank you very much for doing our State of the City luncheon, which is January 28th. All of you are invited. We'd love to have you guys attend. Thank you, Vance, for signing up today. And yeah, if you have any questions about it and want to get a ticket, you can reach out to the maitlandchamber.com website. You can buy your tickets there. You guys are all invited, and we'd love to see you. Thanks.
And I would tell people if they're a business owner to support the
Yes,
chamber. It's a
absolutely.
great organization.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been part of the chamber for a while, was president for several years, now do their business development. Yeah, if anybody's interested in becoming a member, you know, you're a business owner, have any questions about it, yeah, feel free to reach out to me, or Vance can hook you up to, Danny knows me. There's lots of ways to get in touch with me. But check out the chamber website, and that'll help you as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lori. And anybody else? Anybody have any, yeah, please come up to the microphone and give us your name and address, that'd be helpful.
Ed Palmer, and I live in Huntington Court, which is in Greenwood Gardens. And as my neighbors Joe and Adam have said already, that the problems that we're seeing with the diverted traffic is real. Safety of the kids is a major concern. But also I want to mention that somebody's going to get hit by the train during rush hour. That train comes by every 20 minutes, this way or that. And sometimes people are nice enough to let you in or out or back up or go. Sometimes they're not. Somebody's going to get stuck. And without some sort of management going on in that intersection where that train goes by on Sebelia, there's someone going to get hit. And I just wanted to reiterate that, along with the safety of the kids in the streets. People driving through there, they're in a hurry, they want to get back where they were going, they're not looking, and it's not a good situation. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Was it Mr. Palmer? Palmer. Okay, thank you. Okay. Anybody else this evening? Anybody? Okay, seeing none, let's close the public comment period. And since we have folks here concerned about traffic and have made this trip this evening, it probably behooves us to have a discussion about that, though it's not on the agenda. Mark, maybe you can help us, just kind of, if you could give us the context of the project that's going on over there, what we've done to ameliorate any traffic issues.
Yeah, just as a reminder, the Lift Station 7 project is a project where we're relocating the lift station out of the middle of Maitland Avenue, relocating adjacent to Marion Way. This is our least reliable lift station that serves the greatest number of people. When we embarked on this project and first put it in the capital plan, we knew that it was going to be a real challenge, especially this portion of it, where you're actually in Maitland Avenue and having to close it down. Some of the original methods of moderating traffic, which is to close down the entire road, north and south, to make it happen more quickly. We knew we had to manage traffic along the road and keep it open to some extent. So as we looked over the maintenance of traffic plans, we decided to at least, we had to keep access to some of the businesses but still keep traffic moving. So we came up with a plan that the contractor actually came up with a plan that's out there today. We knew it was going to be a challenge from a construction standpoint and from a maintenance of traffic standpoint, but we tried to lessen that as much as possible, thinking about both the local residents and the traffic that comes through the city on a day-to-day basis. So we've received some input from the neighbors. I've talked to Chief Manuel about how we're going to be dealing with it from day one. We have a large police presence out there right now that's monitoring the situation and going to be moving into enforcement. If there's a bit of positive news, we were a week into this, so we have about 2 weeks more to go, and then everything will be opened back up as they're finishing up the lift station. We did the best job we could notifying the local residents of the traffic impacts. As soon as we knew it, we put that out to the businesses and residents in the area. One thing we don't have a lot of control on, I'm sure some of you saw it on our social media posts and newsletters that went out also. One thing we don't have a lot of control over is the fact that thousands of trips a day pass through the city that aren't monitoring what we're doing locally. So it catches them off guard and they just have to follow the detour signs. When I was talking to the chief before the meeting, he says it is getting better on a daily basis. It'll probably be better by the time we open it back up. But he's going to have his officers out there monitoring the situation, doing enforcement as necessary, as we continue to work with the contractor to speed this up as much as we can. We have sort of had a choice when we embarked on Lift Station 7. We could have done it in a way which some cities would choose to do, is wait till the lift station breaks down and have to deal with bypass pumping, rebuilding the lift station on the fly without plans, and closing the road down for months on end. We tried to take a more proactive approach to this, but like I said, this is the most complicated lift station construction project we've embarked upon because of the fact that it was originally placed in the middle of one of the busiest roads in the city. So it's a challenge.
Okay, so we have 2 weeks left on that project that's impacting Maitland Avenue, sending traffic around. And what about the Marion Way aspect of that? Is that all going to be wrapped up in 2 weeks as well?
No, that's just going to open up Maitland Avenue, so there'll be no more detours around. There's still work going on a lift station that'll last for a couple more months, and then we'll be wrapped up there and ready to go and demobilized from the site.
Okay, and that, just also for context, that lift station is one of the workhorses, right?
Yes, that's one of our bigger lift stations, yes.
So it's a major project. I think there was a question about the contracts. We do lots of contracts, and we typically have liquidated damages.
Every construction contract, yes.
So yes, so it's we have a staff that's well acquainted with dealing with construction contracts, and so those are there, and I think things are proceeding along the timeline of the project we anticipated.
It actually was a little bit delayed, so we're in discussions on the contract stipulations regarding the delays in the project and the LDs. So
okay, so those are being discussed with the contractor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I think there's some general concerns about traffic, and there's been hearing a lot more lately, and really since just in the new year, from people. I walk through or run through Greenwood Gardens a couple times a week, so I'm familiar with that area, and the traffic's over there. And it's not just there; it's there is in Domrick, and it's in, the Maitland Woods, and it's, and I don't know if it was Christmas that everybody got a scooter or an e-bike or something, but I mean, it seems like they're just walking all over the place, and there's a lot of concern, I think, generally about how we are going to adjust to that, or have others adjust to us. But it is an issue that we've been talking about, we've been talking to the city manager about, we've been talking with the chief of police about, and so it's a concern we all take very seriously, and it's something we're going to try to get ahead of, and education, enforcement, whatever we can do to ameliorate that issue. But it's going to be, with us. I don't think we can't wish them away. I don't think, but we're going to have to learn to figure out how to deal with them. So I think, does anybody else have any comment tonight on traffic in general?
Yeah, and it's pretty much, I want to hit on what Mr. Forshey, is it Forshey? One of the things he said, is, and I saw this the other day, that after school let out at Domrick or wherever, and there's dozens of kids riding these scooters that can go up to 20 miles an hour, but they've never had one class in driver's ed, and they don't know the rules of the road, and it's very concerning. For all you out there, I serve on the Metro Plan Advisory Commission, and that has to do with traffic and stuff within Orange County, Seminole, Osceola, the surrounding counties. And that's one thing that I want to bring up to them in our next meeting is my concern with this is that, these kids are riding around sometimes without helmets on, and they can get up to 20 miles an hour. I mean, when we were kids, we skateboarded to school, and you did, 5 miles an hour? And you still got hurt. So, and we can't really do anything about that locally. That's going to have to be something that probably comes from the state mandate. So I'll bring it up there and see what we can do with it. But yeah, and the light at Civilian 1792, I think that's an FDOT light. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes, sir.
And am I right on this? FDOT is a pretty difficult to get a hold of them.
Their primary concern is keeping traffic moving along 1792.
Yeah. So they're not really concerned about us at Sevilla.
Especially on a temporary basis.
Yeah. So I know that's problematic. We can talk to them, but there's not guarantees. We can definitely address that, And I wanted to ask you if you knew this with what Mr. Dabby said, but I always heard that the plan was to widen Wymore from Lee Road to the overpass of Maitland Boulevard. Is that not correct? To widen Wymore?
I'd have to look at the MPOs.
I think I had heard that somewhere, so I just wanted to know. And and with the racing of cars and everything, I live on a cul-de-sac, and it's amazing how fast people are racing to the end of a cul-de-sac, and that's a lot of Amazon drivers, deliveries, and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's in every neighborhood, so I feel for y'all on that because I don't know what to do about that one. But I will be addressing the scooters going forward, and I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do about the light at 1792 because FDOT is also part of that. So I'll address it, see what we can do.
Right, and I think that's DOT's light, but we also work enforcement there, and Chief Manuel is very busy with a lot of the enforcement there, and also with all these projects, the Maitland Avenue project, the Greenwood Gardens project, the Maitland police are very sensitive to that, especially the pinch points, and I think their enforcement and visibility will be out there, I think, as they currently are. So we'll make sure everybody do that. And I also wanted to say thank you for coming out. We appreciate you all making the trip down here this evening. We love to hear from people in Maitland, even when it's unpleasant issues, but I do appreciate you all coming out. I'm sure we all do. And if you want to hang with us for the rest of the evening, that's great too. So, we have heard you, and we'll be dealing with our staff about how to take care of these issues. Okay, let's, without any further comments, let's close the public comment period and move into our decisions for the evening.
Brian, one question?
No, sir, we've closed the public comment period, but we're welcome to take questions at any other time. If you want to talk to me, call the city manager. We can get back to it. Okay. Let's hear about the Maitland Public Library, Quinstron Park project.
Okay, as Robert's getting everything set up with HBM and RVI, I'll just give a brief introduction. As you all know that have been following this, we've been in the last several years, we've been really moving into the design of the new library at Quinstron Park. We went through the schematic design portion of the property, where we laid out the principles of the building and what would be included in the building. Then moved to design development. As we discussed during the design development phase, there was changes to be made. We refined what those uses are going to be, what the size of the rooms are going to be within the library, what was going to take place on the first floor and the second floor. Not much change between schematic design and design development. So we had a pretty solid plan that seemed to work real well. I think what you're going to find tonight is that not a lot has changed between design development and these 95% construction plans. You won't be seeing the 95% construction plans here. I sent those out loud to you. There's a couple of 200 sheets of plans there. But you'll be getting the feeling for where we are from as we hopefully move into bidding this. So tonight we have Peter Bollock and Kevin Kennedy from HBM, and so we have Ryan Seacrest with RVI. We also have Robert with RVI too. Peter and Kevin have been working on the building itself. RVI is the landscape architect, so they've been working on the park portion of this. So with that, I would like to, if we're ready, to turn it over to Peter and Kevin to start us out.
Thanks, Mark. This is Peter. Robert, I'm not able to share my screen. Oh, no, now it's come up. Okay. All right. Everyone see the opening slide here?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
We got yours.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. It's
Peter, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to remind City Council that if your microphone is not on, Peter, Kevin, Ryan will not be able to hear you. So if you have any questions, make sure your microphone is on. Sorry for the interruption, Peter.
It's quite all right. Just saying it was great to be back with you all this evening, even though it's virtual, but we're very happy to be here. And at this stage, as Mark mentioned, I think you'll find very little change to what you've already been made aware of with the project. I think our team has worked very, very well with Mark and the city and the library to bring this project to this point. We are entering the last phase of pre-construction, which is why we're here tonight. We want to give you the update of where we are. The next phase, which we'll touch on at the end of the presentation, will be moving into construction. I think a little bit of discussion tonight just in the process that we've gone through. We'll talk a little bit about the site plan, the floor plans, and then the exterior architecture, and a little bit of next steps. But to start off, Ryan, if I may, I'll turn it over to you, and you can talk a little bit about our park design.
Thanks, Peter, and good afternoon, or sorry, good evening, council. So, like Kevin said, not a ton has changed if you were to glance at this, and you've seen renderings like this in the past. This one has been updated to reflect the 95% package that you would have received in your packet in preparation. So I'll point out a couple of the changes that were made in process that were not reflected the last time you saw it likely, which are very few. So starting with, I'll go up to where the Germain Marble building is, where it says G on your screen. So the process actually is as late as last week. We had a meeting and we discussed future possibilities for that space marking G there on the screen. And it was determined that sidewalk, if you recall, there's a sidewalk navigating essentially from the parking lot near the pond there at the corner of the property. It would navigate around the perimeter and connect over to Q, which is the covered event pad over your main marble building, so we deleted that, delete flexibility for future planning of that space. In addition to, reducing costs as it may not be well utilized other than events where someone may kind of walk over there casually to get to the park, which they're still able to do heading towards the parking lot and not being close to the parking lot's edge, so it doesn't prevent someone from getting green marble into the main area of the park. So we made that suggestion. Other than that, we've advanced essentially in construction documents documenting what you see here on the screen into a lot of decisions that you and staff made throughout this last 30% of the process. I can say that in the front plaza, where it's marked C as you enter the building, as we kind of got into the budget and things like that, we reduced some of the pavers that you see. So I know it's all gray, it's hard to tell, but essentially around that planter where you see the letter C, that's pavers, so all of the main entries are surrounded by paver work for decorative reasons. And then as you see, like where letter E is in that front plaza, that's a standard concrete, but it does have decorative banding and such that ties into those paver areas and will look appealing as well. But it's not as frequently traveled and will be more conducive to the budget, but also to the use of those spaces, which will have connections to indoor spaces for activities, and they'll have seating where pavers isn't necessarily going to be visible from the street and main entryways. I would say outside of that, there are not a ton of changes. We reacted to, say, small details like the curb ramping, ADA ramping at the corner of Packwood and Maitland Avenue, and really that's just in anticipation of, let's say, having a crosswalk that travels north-south from the corner of the library site directly north, rather than passing Maitland and using the more northern crosswalk, which is the safer access, which we studied in the past and showed you guys versions of that that we got approval on. So you imagine we're not suggesting that the southern side of that Packwood Maitland Avenue intersection be utilized, and we're designing as such. I would say that's one small change that has occurred. Other than that, what you see is very much in alignment with what you've seen thus far.
Thanks, Ryan. I want to step back just one notch from talking about the park design and development to a little bit more history of the project, as Mark kind of alluded to. But we began work in early of 2023. In June of 23, we embarked in some significant community engagement to help inform the project's direction. That's where the library is suggested to be sited at the northern quadrant of the park, and then development of pathways and linkages south from that point, from Packwood and Maitland Avenue. From there, obviously everyone knows we went through a public bond issue for the funding of the project, which was approved in March of 24, and then our second phase of design work has been going since probably about summer of 24 till now, where we're at the point of entering into construction here shortly. Before moving to the site, from the site plan to the building plans, to give you kind of a high-level overview of those, a couple other functional things to talk a little bit about on this site. The main entry to the parking area is off of Packwood Avenue, and if you cycle through the site, there is a drop-off point, which is labeled at N, letter N. People would cycle around through the site and then back out onto Packwood Avenue. A couple of things relating the site to the building. It was always an objective to take northern Maitland area and link it through this park to the south beyond the library and to other amenities within the community. And so there are two major entries to the library building. The one is on the west side of the building related to the parking lot, kind of around the letter D that you see. And the other entry is, as Ryan just described, the public park on Packwood Avenue, letter C. If one were entering letter C, there is a nice progression through the building experience the library along the way, but then an access point on the southern point of the building that would allow people to enjoy the library and then cycle out to the park and then continue on pathways through the park to the south portions of the city. So with that, the two entries I mentioned, the primary entries are noted with the red triangles, the one on the west off the parking lot and the one off the north plaza from Packwood Avenue are noted here. You can see a distinct kind of passage through the library. This area is going to be kind of an entry progression, but also a space where the library can highlight great material that is available at the library. There will be a number of different kiosks with material on display. There will also be a very nice gallery that is changing throughout the year to highlight collections the library has, and in conjunction with Arts and Humanities collection that they have. So this is a real welcoming central point of the library that people can access, come into, and then get oriented into other aspects, directions they'd like to explore within the library. On this first floor, the northwestern quadrant is dedicated staff space. It's the internal workings of the library. It's the area that librarians provide circulation assistance, but also programming and planning of events and activities that happen and really run and support the building and address all the needs and interests and concerns of the customers and folks of Maitland. There is a Friends bookstore prominently at the entry that's a very appealing and desirable element of the current building that has been brought over in the new design, and that is on the western edge there as well. The east edge, the northeast edge, is a large meeting space. It is subdividable so that it can be broken down into two separate event spaces, or it can be opened up for one large event meeting space. The center area is really the core infrastructure, restroom facilities, but then the southern portion of the library is essentially the children's zone with the collection, playground, grow elements, and then also a program space for children's programming. As I mentioned, there is an access point if you continue through this central space to the south, and then access to the park and beyond. There is also an access point off of the children's space to the east. I don't know if you can all see my cursor, but to the east into this part of the park development, which is the children's garden. On the second floor, again breaking it down into quadrants in general, the northwest area is staff support space. The center area is the team dedicated collection and the elements associated with that program. To the right is some adult collections, some public computing, and then two meeting spaces, one a classroom space and the other a maker space or creation lab. As we move to the south there's a couple of small group study rooms, which is a very desirable component within public libraries. And then the major portion of the adult collection is on the second floor. Also associated with collection, we look to balance people space and material space, so all throughout the plan, both first and second floor, there's a lot of opportunities for seating, table and chair seating, but also lounge seating, collaboration seating, work seating, study spaces, and so forth, along with shelving of material. On the second floor, there's also two access points to a meeting terrace that wraps the south and east edge of this building. Talking a little bit about the architecture, very early on, working with the library and the city, and then also with the community, we looked at the different architectural elements within the community and came up with a concept that blended a number of kind of local styles together to create the public library. What you're looking at here is a view from the southwest. This is under the signage and canopy here in the middle of the building is what might be considered one of the primary entries. Just in the foreground here is that passage, pedestrian passage that is connecting us to the Germain Marble building. On the south side of the building, the entry right here next to the word library is that connection and access from the library building into the park. The view directly from the park to the library, so this is from the south looking north. That entrance I just mentioned is to the left. The first floor is the children's space, so the views you'll see in here will be very active and vibrant with the collection of the library for children, but also their play, learn, and grow space. On the upper level, there is a roof terrace that I mentioned, the reading terrace that wraps the south facade and then continues along the east facade on the second level. On this view from the southeast, you're also seeing the children's garden that is secure and protected with a privacy fence that will allow access from the library to this space for children's programs and events. This view is from the northeast. It is the corner of Pathway to Maitland Avenue. As Ryan kind of mentioned, the development of this plaza is a combination of paver and concrete decorative elements, but it is also a landmark indicator of the library. There's a lot of nice plantings and wayfinding and signage identifying the building. And as you move around to directly the front facade off of Pathway Avenue, this is the other primary entry to the library space from this public plaza. To the left is what I described in the plan as the meeting spaces. To the right on the first floor is staff space, and then on the second floor is a combination of staff and teen and adult space. The building is really in concert with its surroundings, taking cues from architecture that exists currently and kind of cohesively blending those together to create one unique identity that is grounded and fitting within the architecture of Maitland. And we can answer any questions you might have. I go into more detail, more directly on any of the components of the presentation. But the last part we wanted to share with everyone was the next steps, the council presentation this evening, and then, as I mentioned, we are in our last phase of the pre-construction part, starting here in January. Bidding, permitting, and then council approval to enter construction would happen with that targeted around April of 26 for construction. So with that, happy to Ryan or Kevin or I can answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you, Peter. That's very exciting. Does anybody have any questions of Mark or HPM?
Yeah, this is Councilman Bill Randolph. And I've talked to Mark about this, but my concern, looking at the civil plans, primarily on the site, on the entrance road, the west side, there was an existing fire hydrant and backflow preventer. Those actually were put there as a condition of the development of the GMB, Germain Marble Building. There is no other fire hydrant except that hydrant in the middle of Pathway. So we put it there back in 2013 to provide fire safety for the Art Center as well as other buildings along that corridor. So my concern was moving it into the site. Does that move it out of the range that we need it to be on Pathway? Or does it just need to be adjusted over so we still have fire flow for those other buildings as well as the Art Center? And the backflow was actually part of the GMB improvement. So I don't think, the site plan basically under the demo plan said remove backflow preventer. It didn't say what to do with it after that. But that it was part of the GMB improvements. So I communicated with Mark my concern about that. He said that they had talked to the civil, I guess. But I want to put on the record that those kind of things need to be looked at when we're doing projects. It's not just within the project site, but what do things affect other areas.
And on that point, Bill, after we talked, I did talk to Karen McCollum, in charge of our water and wastewater systems. She's the one that made the comments about the existing hydrants and the relocation. She was looking into it, pulling the records out. She's been out with some sick leave procedure done, but we talked about, I think I talked about it with most of you, Site plan is going through a continual process right now because it needs to get a site plan approval to get the permits before we go to construction, so it's working through that. We have another number of smaller comments like that that need to be addressed before we can issue those permits before we can move forward. But that's something that I have asked Karen about. She came back with me on that and make sure everybody knows about that.
Okay. Scott?
I'm not sure I heard anything you were saying about the pedestrian curb cut. My understanding from what I heard is that you're directing people northward across Packwood, and then if they were crossing over to Independence Lane, they would cross on that side of the street. That's the, did I hear that correctly?
That's correct. So if they were looking at the site plan, if they were standing by letter O, they would walk northward across Packwood, and then they could walk east by City Hall. And that is the safer route. On the opposing side, on the south side of the intersection, you get to the east side of Maitland Avenue. There's not really a paved landing. It's gravel. There's some switchgear there. It's quite hazardous. We studied that in some depth, and that's where we came to the suggestion. We didn't show any improvements in that intersection because the city is doing other studies and preparing for other plans for that intersection, but we are making sure our intersection corner is accommodating that movement.
Okay, that was my next question, was how this fits in with the city's planning.
Yeah, this is the part of it where we get up to the off-site improvements, and one of the tasks that you gave our ad hoc committee was to figure out this intersection. So we continue to work with the MPO and their consultant team to evaluate that as one of the primary intersections. They are putting together concepts right now on that I haven't seen yet. Last time we met with them, which we meet with them every other week, they're putting those concepts together to how to address that movement throughout the entire intersection. So what Ryan's talking about is just doing that one lane, which is clearly a necessary lane.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vance, you gonna?
Yeah, I have a few, if that's okay. Peter, one of the things that really interested me in this whole new building was, I guess we were having a workspace for, so students can come work on like STEM projects. Is that still a go? Is that in the teen section? Could you talk on that?
Yeah, it is still a go. It's what we're labeling as makerspace up here on the second floor. One of the reasons for locating it here in this zone is it's really accessible to all demographic, ages of the population. It's not really just in the teen zone itself. As libraries operate daily, teens are there mainly from 2 or 3 in the afternoon on. And these spaces have a lot of great things that other members of the community could utilize, so to have them be in a space that's very easily accessible and obvious is why it landed up here on the second floor. It also has a glassed-in facade to that room that when you come up either approach, you're going to see that makerspace. So that is still part of the plan.
Okay, good, thank you. My other questions are for Ryan. Ryan, I know at one time we had like a cement seating area that kind of went at an angle kind of, and if you remember, my one concern was that it was a great skateboarding area. And, if you connected it to the sidewalk, you needed to have a gap in between, but I noticed that's gone. Is that correct? We're not doing that anymore?
That's correct. So the open lawn on the south side of the building at letter G is where all those were located. We've eliminated those. One, for just the idea that there were other comments that we needed more open space and those could create a deterrent. The other reason was the back of the building at one point was designed a little differently, where there might have been a function that could have been a sort of a stage, or at least an area that could have been utilized as a stage. So we've set those terraces up as seating, and that's no longer the case. And then lastly, we removed them. They did help the budget overall, because we all agreed they were not useful items for the desire of the park. So 3 good reasons that we move forward with that.
And another question is, this is really small, so I have a hard time seeing. but there is something there, I think it's H, what, and I can't really tell if I look at this, what is H?
Oh, that's it's a pergola or pavilion. And I believe maybe the last time you saw it, it was oriented differently. In that space, there was a small garden around it. We minimized on that hardscape and landscape a little bit, and we changed the orientation to kind of square up on the orientation of that side of the building. But the pavilion's been there probably from the first design iteration. It's just floated around a little and landed there.
Okay, and the pond, my last question, the pond, that's going to be you call it the pond, but it's going to be like a dry retention pond, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
All right. Thank you. That's all I
Thank
got.
you.
Steve, anything? No. Okay. I have a question about the second floor. If you could take us back to the slide on the second floor there. So I guess the rooms that you might reserve to study, the study rooms there, which are in the middle, and I see 3 of them, right?
Right.
I guess, kind of from a programmatic standpoint, do you think that's sufficient? Do we feel like 3 is enough room? I mean, I guess this would be the rooms where, maybe high schoolers or teenagers would come and study, or maybe parents would bring their elementary school kids there to kind of be able to close the door and study. Number one, is 3 enough? And if it's determined later that that's a popular item, I mean, could you retrofit and take up some more of that shelf space and add more, or has there been any thought given to that?
Yeah, well, certainly we could expand that as needs would demand in the future. The small group study space is a very popular, desirable space within a public library. Again, for all ages of the public, from tutoring through business to any meeting of counseling or anything can happen in these rooms that are needed to have a little bit of privacy. What we've done is designed it so that there's a little bit of flexibility within those spaces. Some are 2-person and some are 4-person. But Mary mentioned the flexibility. Yes, these could be expanded if there's a desire or need for more in the future.
Okay, thank you. Those are our comments, but there may be better comments from the public. So why don't we open up the comments to the public? Anybody who'd like to have a comment, perhaps, or we can funnel a question to 8 p.m. and the microphones are right over here.
Lori does not like that microphone.
I'm just curious of how large or how many people does the meeting room?
What are the dimensions of the meeting
Yeah, what
rooms?
would that size, like how many people can be in that room?
Yeah.
The tables?
Let me see if I can zoom into that area real quickly here. Bear with me for a second. And so the room is almost 2,000 square feet. And again, as I mentioned, it is dividable, so there's a movable partition that can fold back into this pocket here
Yeah.
for 1 large room or 2 smaller rooms. Let me just do a quick.
That's
Peter, that's about 150.
Okay, I don't see the note on this. Yeah. So if you open it all up, 150 seated, as you see here.
great, thank you.
That's, Mark, what is the capacity of this room by comparison? Do you have any idea? Anybody put somebody on the spot here?
160.
Right over there. Yeah, pretty much the same.
73.
Yeah, that's impressive. With the demo kitchen.
So that would be lecture space, but if you broke it down to have seating, an event with tables, it'd be less.
Right.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from anyone? Here we go.
I'm Beth, 8100 Tangible Court. For the parking lot and the parking areas, is it permeable or is it solid concrete?
Peter, did you get that question? What is the surface made of the parking area? Is it permeable or is it concrete? Is it asphalt?
Yeah, Ryan, you want to?
It's asphalt.
So it's not the permeable popcorn type thing, I guess. Is that what you're thinking of?
To something that's less invasive.
Okay.
Yeah, I will tell you that the 100% of the water on the site does go to the dry pond A and infiltrate there. So any water that touches that surface will be captured on source, or on site, or pretty close to point source.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Anybody else? Anybody else at all? Okay, let's close the public comment period. Any further discussion on this item?
I just want to bring up one thing while it's fresh on our minds. We heard about e-bikes and scooters and golf carts. I can see this being a draw for a lot of that. So I think we need to be cognizant of, we have to have some policy in place, because I can see this going to be a mecca for a lot of scooters coming up Hackwood and down Maitland Avenue. More safety hazards.
Right. And along those lines, and while we have the experts here, what does that look like for, bike racks, et cetera? And I guess as we're moving into a new world where bikes are becoming e-bikes and scooters are becoming e-scooters, and is there any thought to how that looks? Or is it just a standard bike racks there?
Yeah, and we've certainly incorporated the storage of those on the site at the 2 points of entry, but the policy on, how those are handled is a little bit more difficult, and I think that's, there's safety and concerns that have to be kind of policed with it. It is something that is here and now, and, we have to make accommodations for it, and so the one thing that is built into the design is storage for it, or parking for it, or secure blocking of it. But the safety and security is something that, the overall site and policing of the overall site as a public destination is something that will need to be carefully developed with this project.
I would say as a quantity, you're probably looking at around 24 spaces for bicycles in general on the type of racks you see here on the screen, and dispersed throughout the site. So like Peter said, there's one on the corner of Hackwood and Maitland Avenue towards the front of the building. There's the one you see out there in the parking lot. Yes, so around the P letter, around on both of those instances in the parking lot and the front corner of the building, and you get one down by Pinterest in the annex parking over there. And that accommodates about 24 bikes, and then, as you get into things, I'm not sure of the City of Maitland's policy or the abundance of line bikes, the rentable ones and the scooters and such. Usually those are not on racks, so if you needed to accommodate an area, that would be more of a city policy to decide on where they're allowed to place those items.
Yeah, that's the retention policy. All right. Any further discussion, or the motion would be in order?
Can we have an update on the bond?
Yeah.
We've been meeting with our financial advisor and bond counsel. I saw another meeting on my calendar next week, but I have to check that, and my computer just died. So we're still on track there. So the bonding is basically running in line with the construction schedule, with the groundbreaking. So we're looking good there.
Okay. All right. Well, this is very exciting, and Peter and team, thank you for bringing this out to us. We're excited to get it going. Very anxious to have it in the design we see it, and to get it out to bid, so we can break ground and have a library in a few months. Nice.
Well, Mayor, thank you as well. We really enjoyed the process through design and the collaboration we've had with the library and the city. And there's a little ways to go here. We got through construction, but we're very excited about it. And I think, as Mark reiterated, from day one. I think we've had some really great thoughts and discussion and progress that has got us to this point, and we look forward to moving it into the next phase. So thank you all for your help.
Yeah, and you may not be able to see it from where you are, but we have in the audience members of the library board, members of the public, members of the floor committee, and so we're all very excited about this project. It's going to be a great, good news item for Maitland. That said, does anybody have a motion to bring this to a close?
I move that we need to make a motion to approve the 95%.
Approve the 95% plan to direct staff to move to the bidding process.
Okay, I move to approve the 95% construction drawings with comments and direct staff to move on to the bidding phase of the library Winstrong Park project.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Lauren, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Randolph.
Aye.
Councilmember Guthrie.
Aye.
Councilmember French.
Aye.
Councilmember Shaney.
Aye.
Mayor Lowndes.
Aye. Okay, it's approved. We're off and running. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Peter, and everybody.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right, so next item is the second reading of ordinance number 1453. Lauren, would you please read the ordinance title?
Ordinance number 1453, an ordinance of the City of Maitland, Florida, amending the official zoning map, a part of Article 1 of the Maitland Land Development Code by changing the zoning classification of property generally located north of Maitland Boulevard and west of Charles Way. Further described herein, from plan development to plan development, approving a conceptual development plan lot for Lot 3 of Maitland Concourse North and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Mark, it looks like you're here to introduce the item, or Mike, rather.
Mike,
All right.
yeah.
Mark is taking it easy now.
Yeah, Mike Daniels with Community Development Department, here to present staff comments for the second reading of ordinance number 1453 regarding the rezoning request for planned development for Maitland Concourse North Lot 3. The applicant for the project is Marcus Geiger with Kimley Horn. The property owner is BPL Maitland Concourse North. The current zoning is planned development. The land use, future land use is corridor district. As I mentioned, they are requesting approval of planned development for retail use. Here's the layout showing all of Maitland Concourse North, which was approved as a PUD, subject to a development agreement back in 2016. However, a few lots, including Lot 3, at the time did not have a development plan. As part of the agreement, it was determined that when a development plan was put together, they would come back and go through the public hearing process and get approval as a PD rezoning. So that's why we're bringing Lot 3 specifically for your approval. Lot 3 is located between the drainage retention area to the west, Maitland Boulevard to the south, existing shopping center retail uses to the east, and undeveloped property, Lot 6 to the north, which is proposed to be a townhome development. The next slide is showing their conceptual site plan. They're showing the anchor store is 12,500 square feet, and they're also including additional shops of 5,300 square feet. They don't have any vehicular access off of Maitland Boulevard. Their main access is going to be off of Concourse Parkway, which is on the northern side of the site, and through Trelago Way, through the existing shopping center. So through an access easement coming through the shopping center from Trelago Way. They are showing pedestrian access, which would connect from the store down to Maitland Boulevard. On the landscape plan, they're showing a landscape strip along Maitland Boulevard. They're also showing a landscape strip adjacent to the pedestrian walking path, which would take you from Maitland Boulevard up to the front of the store. They're also showing landscape islands with shade trees in all of the islands, and they're showing a landscape strip and buffer area in the rear of the site. As we discussed during the first meeting, they have provided us with elevations of the site, and again, this gives you a better idea of the landscaping that they're proposing on the site, what they're looking at doing in terms of the parking area. One of the things that we discussed, and that was discussed as part of the Planning and Zoning Commission, was to explore ways to create, to break up the parking area. Some of the things that were done, they're showing, you can see some of the screen structures, one along Maitland Boulevard and one further back on, further down where the pedestrian walking path is. And they also added an additional walking path to the west of the site adjacent to the drainage retention area, again, to try to break up the parking as much as possible. With that, the plan was taken to the Development Review Committee and unanimously approved on October 22nd, subject to specific site-related conditions regarding water and sewer capacity and conflicts between utilities and development. And it was then subsequently taken to the Planning and Zoning Commission, where it received unanimous approval, subject to the conditions set forth in the Land Development Code, as well as the conditions set forth in the DRC staff report.
No, you're good.
Okay. Then it was approved at first reading by City Council, and staff is recommending to move to approve on second and final reading ordinance number 1453 as presented. And the applicant is also in the audience, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Anybody have any questions?
I do. So last time you were here at the first reading, the applicants, I believe, were here at the same time. Can we go back to the layout, especially where the loading zone is, loading area? Because I know you're going to have early morning deliveries, and what I said at that time was I want to make sure that we have enough material back there, whatever it is, walls, trees, bushes, to absorb some of that sound, because we have 300 units at the apartments. We're looking at maybe having 80 owners of townhomes coming in, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't want the sound of backing up, beep, beep, beeps, waking everybody up. So what, can somebody talk to that? What, and kind of talk me down and make me feel better that this is going to not be, some of the sound is going to be absorbed.
Sure. The applicant can talk a little bit more about that. Because
it looks the same as last time that I brought it up.
It is, and we would change that. But the idea behind it was they did have a double row of landscaping, which is a combination of shrubs and trees, both along where the loading dock is located and then further back along the property line. The idea, again, is that it would be completely screened from public view, so you wouldn't be able to see it. Again, this is also this is a smaller loading dock as compared to the building next door. So the thought process was that because they were adding additional landscaping, they were able to screen it, that would help to mitigate for any impact to adjacent properties. The other point, and you brought it up, is the idea that we are transitioning from heavier uses, the retail uses, down to the more multifamily townhome uses before you get to some of the single family. So the thought there is that this would be an acceptable buffer for that area. And I'll defer to the applicant if you'd like to add something.
Yeah, I'd like for them to get up and talk on this. Because the last thing I want is people around the neighborhoods coming to me and saying, listen, this is driving us crazy. So especially if we had new people coming in buying townhomes.
Matt Bloomfield, again, with Harbor Real Estate Partners, the applicant for the project. We're definitely, we agreed last time that we would heavily plant that area, and like Mr. Daniels said, unlike even like the first the first lot 2 phase of the shopping center, which actually backs right up with a double loading dock right to the back of the apartments. It has a wall. This one is actually positioned, it was pulled closer to Maitland Boulevard for that reason, to create this double. So we have, not only do we have, and it's this is a single loading, but we have the strip here where we can screen, and then you also have another buffer as well behind, and we're committed to planting that, in excess of code, we agreed to do that through the site plan process with staff. So.
Okay, I just really want to express, my concern with that, so.
Yeah,
thank you.
Okay. I have a question about the access, and I'm looking at one of the pieces of the site plan, and just general access to the grocery store. It looks like you come around the pond and kind of end up at the back end of the, that's more or less what I'm looking at. You end up at the pond, and you go around the pond and you come back up, and you're at the back of the building. And I guess you go all the way around the building and then come back through and back toward Maitland Boulevard to get to the parking lot. Is that how that would work?
Well, the thesis behind this, as I said at the last meeting, we own this lot 2 existing shopping center, and this site on its own was very challenged from an access perspective.
Actually, I was going to get to that question next, but I just wanted to get this one out of the way first. So just as to the road that goes around the pond, do I have that right? That's how you get to the parking lot?
No, the primary access point, because we're combining the centers, is Chalago Way and the Signal. That's the primary customer access. So this main drive here in the front, so you'd make a left on Chalago Way, and then come into the center here. Obviously this is now going to be a fitness user, and you continue this way and park in front here. This is very secondary. The primary access is here.
Right. Okay. But you could do it. You could come around the back and then make your own way in. So there's no property lines. I mean, there's kind of heavy black lines there, but there's access.
Correct.
From the back. But the primary access, you're going to come off. So it's not a dedicated road into the area of the grocery store. You really have to go past the opening of the other larger building and get to the other.
Right. And sorry.
You own both properties. So
right, and actually they're going to be owned in the same, it's going to be one in the same, same ownership, et cetera. So it's not even going to be 2 separate properties that need an easement. It's going to be all one ownership.
That's what I would say. You don't need an easement because you own both properties, and I guess your tenant will be happy with that. Okay. And there, I guess you all have done the traffic studies that you got enough stacking to get in and out of there for people coming out of there, leaving, they'll come back to that lot and back out onto Maitland Boulevard.
Yeah, preliminary, and then as we get through the site plan with staff, all of the additional reports or anything they require will be submitted.
Okay. And from a marketing perspective, that doesn't create a problem? You all think that people can figure that out? I guess signage will help a lot. Because it's not quite intuitive that you're going to this grocery store. I think it's Farmer John's over here, but you have to go through somebody else's lot to get there. So I guess there'll be plenty of signage that will help you.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and they these types of tenants are very particular on access and signage and visibility and all that, and they were comfortable with the access.
Okay.
And I just have are you done, John?
Yeah, I'm done.
Just for my own personal self-interest, how many parking spaces are there available to the guests coming in on lot 2? Lot 2 and 3
2 and
combined.
3 combined. I think the total is there, I can't read it, but it's about 5 per thousand, so. I don't know if you have a calculator, but yeah, it's what, around 500 or so for the entire development, maybe a little less than that. But it's right just above 5 per thousand combined, which is code.
Okay. So you think about 500? Feel good about that?
I don't know if you guys have it on you.
Yeah, I don't need precise. I just kind of.
Yeah, it's about 400 and change. Would be about 5 per thousand.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Right. Seeing none up here, let's open it up to public comment. Does anybody in the public have any comment on this item? You gotta come all the way up here, Lori.
Was parking spaces 400 and something for the entire complex, or
Correct.
just in the new section where Trader Joe's and the retail's going?
No, for everything across
Yeah.
That's lot 2 and 3?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, across everything.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Any comments? Okay. Let's close the public comment period. And if there's no further discussion, the motion to be
We confirm it's Trader Joe's.
The worst. This has been the worst kept secret in this town I've ever seen in my life, man. I've had neighbors coming up to me.
Farmer John's.
Me too.
Yeah. People are very excited about it, though. About Farmer John's.
Okay. I guess that, I don't know, Bill's asked that.
Well, that was kind of a question, but I guess we didn't get the verbal confirmation. And I would think they would be a very strict client right now with Winter Park and all the parking issues down there. I don't think they would want to go in a place that's underparked.
Parking issues.
Right.
Yeah, that's why kind of my question, how much parking? Yeah, where I was going with it.
Okay.
So I will make a motion on second reading, ordinance number 1453, plan development rezoning amendment, AZPD 2025-0002, Maitland Concourse North, Lot 3, 601 Trulaga Way. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Laura, please call the roll.
Councilmember French.
Aye.
Councilmember Shaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Guthrie.
Aye.
Councilmember Randolph.
Aye.
Mayor Lyons.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we have approved the ordinance. And now we're on to the big motion of the evening. The Fort Maitland Historical Marker verbiage and method of replacement recommendation. So I'll introduce the item and ask for help from city manager and assistant city manager as needed. So I assume everybody's seen the item, and I guess the answer, Shannon or Mark, was from the Department of Historical Markers. I'm not sure that's the exact title for that department, but that's what they do, is that they will not entertain our application for another year. They have a backlog, so if we were to apply, it wouldn't be heard by them for another year. Is that correct?
Yes, Shannon Lewis, Assistant City Manager. They won't look at the application for at least a year, and then they will have whatever time it takes for staff and the council to review the application, ask any questions, get clarification, and then once that's approved, approximately 4 to 5 months for the manufacturing of the sign.
Okay. And did you all find out who the sign manufacturer is, or discuss with anybody else who would be a viable alternative for that?
Yeah, they said that they would provide us some recommendations, but that it just needed to look visually distinct from the state sign if city council chooses to manufacture it with another vendor or even the same vendor.
Okay. Okay. Lori, could you, or Shannon, what was the subcommittee recommendation on that?
The subcommittee recommendation was to approve the verbiage that's in the council packet tonight, and then to seek understanding from the state whether or not they would approve an administrative approval of the language, which they will not. They've indicated that since the original sign language did not go through the state process, it is not on the state database of historical markers, that it would need to start with a whole new application. So.
Okay. All right. So, subcommittee, I think, and subcommittee is made up of many of us up here, so we're bringing our own recommendation to ourselves. Vance, this might be the first time you've heard it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to have, I mean, if we were to go through the state of Florida Historical Marker Committee, you get 1,235 characters per sign. And I'm not sure if that's a limitation set by the sign manufacturer, or if that's a limitation set by just because they think it's a good number. I don't know. Did you get any sense of that? Or?
I believe it's the style of the sign and what will fit on there.
Okay. And so we came up with language for Fort Bend Historical Site that dealt with kind of the site itself and then the period of the history. And we could do, I think the recommendation is to put it on both sides, but I'm not sure there was a strong recommendation of that. I'm not sure if we really considered that. So just to set the table on that, so we'll have two sides of the sign, and we had drafted a 1,235 character blurb for one side, or for both sides. I guess I misunderstood. I thought it was both sides. So if we can get everything that we've drafted on one side, kind of the question is, do we just put it again on the second, on the other side, or do we want to, take that opportunity and educate the public further with some more verbiage? And that's kind of a question I'll throw out there. Does anybody have any feelings about that?
Well, I think one of the issues was, the placement. If people are only going, I think the idea for the same wording on each side is people are going to be coming in one direction or the other, and you're not expecting them to stop and read the back. But my thought was to maximize the space and tell the story of maybe the commemoration. Or you had other ideas about that second side, others did too, but we didn't really address that because we really were thinking in terms of that limitation, and now we're so free from that. To me, it feels like we should revisit it. I'm happy with the verbiage that you have, that we have for the one side, but I'd like to consider at least different wording for side two that would focus on that event when everybody came together, the Seminoles sent representatives. I think that's a kind of a cool historic moment in itself. It's a 20th century commemorative moment, and there might be enough there to justify the use of that space.
I guess my thoughts are, now that we're not constrained by the state, we're not going to wait for a year, almost 2 years to get this sign manufactured and put in place. Now it kind of opens up to where we can do whatever we want. Whatever we do is going to be distinctively different than what their sign is, because it's limited to the word count, character count. So whatever we do, if it's more than that, it's going to be distinctively different than their sign. Do we know the magnitude of the cost of these signs that the state produces?
They're about $3,500.
So if that's the case, I mean, at this point, I'm open to do something different and better than what the state would allow us to do, and be on our own timeline.
And also the format too. I mean, it doesn't have to be a sign, right? It can be almost reading it more, at this level, looking down and having two you know,
Oh, angled more than
angle
straight
like
up.
this. I mean, we should maybe look at some examples. I know cities and counties in our area have those kinds of signs that are very clearly their version of historic markers. It might be worth pricing them out and seeing which ones are attractive. It might even allow for illustration. Like you could have that image of the group from the book of the 30s. Maybe that we can have illustrations.
Yeah.
A map, something for the first side.
The only ones I've seen that have been multiples have been more or less side by side.
Yes.
Not something you're going to walk around.
Right.
Never seen a historical marker like that. I'd be, if we can create something that's side by side and gives more information, why not?
Yeah, and I did actually talk to the spokesperson at the Miccosukee Embassy, and he put me on to, he gave me an example of what that might look like. And I can go back and look at it and find it. But I think it was somewhere in North Florida, and Indian Mounds. But yeah, if we go back, we can look at that as well. So yeah, I guess so we're a like mind that we've been free from the constraints of the state and just we're on our own now. And I just to let you know, I was down at Wood Park the other day. They have a couple signs in the Central Park. Talking about the downtown historic district, and that didn't run through the state. I mean, I think they're on the National Register of Historic Places, and there might have been a national limitation on it, or maybe it was the Department of the Interior or something, but it was not. There was nothing indicating they had any deal with the state at all. So, and they're very attractive signs, and they look the same. I mean, they're just, and so it just, I think it would be not only to talk about the sign, and maybe we should set up another subcommittee meeting and talk about this further in depth, but to think about the event more. I mean, Scott, you had some good ideas about if we're going to do this, are we going to have an unveiling? Is it going to be an educational moment? And who are we going to invite? Who are we going to wrangle into it? And what type of partners we might have in that? And I think I told you I sent a couple of letters to the Seminole Tribe, the Miccosukee Tribe, Seminoles from Oklahoma as well. And if we want to think about is also the communities along the border that are the Black Seminole communities in Mexico and across Texas, we would do that as well. You send essentially the same type of letter that we're sent. And I don't know if we want to do that in spring, we want to do it in summer, we want to do it next fall. I don't know what our timeline is on all this, but these are things. So I think we can think about the physical item we want to set up, and then the event we want to have around it. Certainly the art and history folks should be brought in to help us with that. I think they'll be more than happy to do that. So if we could, I guess there's really not a decision to make tonight other than to kind of agree that we're not going to run it through the state of Florida's historical designation tour. And let's meet as a subcommittee and kind of get further. And if anybody has any ideas they want to send around to the group prior to that, I guess, without having discussions about it, because it is a sunshine committee, so we can't talk about it unless we're in the same room and have noticed and everything. So if anybody has any ideas, I think you send them to Mark or Lori or Shannon, and then we can have them distributed. So when we come, we have some ideas about what to do, and I can set the agenda for that. And how does availability work for everybody? I think next few weeks, same time, same place.
What day of the week did we meet?
Wednesday or Tuesday?
I would ask.
I would request after Thursday.
Because I'm really busy couple weeks. I'm going to be out of town or tied up for the next couple of weeks, unless it's early.
I mean, my suggestion is there's 4 of you serving on it. Do you not think to incorporate them into discussions here, or maybe right before the regular meeting, that way we're not looking at another date?
We can do that. And we also need to get our ANH member on board with that as well. Was there somebody else we were going to invite to these meetings?
I suggested Brian Stewart.
Correct, okay, yeah. Well, everybody's, they're public meetings. Yeah.
Proposed meeting,
Yeah.
bring as many people as you want in.
Right, right. Okay, well, let's,
So Scott, from your scheduling standpoint, based upon our discussions today, when we're setting up our other meeting, will you be looking at first or second meeting of February, by second meeting of February?
If it's on a regular meeting, it's not a problem. I have Thursday, Friday events for the next few weeks.
Okay.
And it just, as an extra meeting, I wasn't sure.
okay, so we'll do it in conjunction with our regular scheduled meeting, is that right?
In January or February?
January, let's do January.
Okay, so if you put any ideas together and get them to us within the next week, you can just include them in the agenda packet. If not, we can still talk about it, but if any you get to us, we can distribute it in the agenda packet.
Okay, yeah, yes. Excellent, so let's do that.
So Mayor, I did do some independent research looking at the location. And it's interesting, Professor Hannah's book, he details that they handed the DAR a deed to the property. I cannot find that property record. With that, the complexity of it is when you look at that time frame of how 1792 was oriented, and they widened it, the sign had to get moved in 63. And so some of that property may have disappeared at that point. Edward Hall did transfer some easements to DOT, I think 3 of them, on his property, so that may have been one of those. But even the deed, I couldn't find the deed that he supposedly transferred to the DAR.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was just, he thought it was a deed, but it was maybe just a verbal or a written agreement how you can have the site.
Yeah.
But the possibility is that it was south of Lake Lily originally and got moved because of the water. So I think our discussion about putting it in Lake Lily might be more appropriate. Plus the fact that you've got 3 other state signs there, that if they're walking around the lake, look at those signs, they might continue around and see ours.
Well, you get like 10 times more than that. You get 25 times the foot traffic too.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, as I was doing my research on some of this, a blog came up from the president of the Longwood Historic Society.
I saw that. Didn't he say in that piece that it was wide in 1980, and that was when the marker was moved to West Coast?
63, I think, were the easements that he granted towards DOT.
Okay.
And so I'm assuming that might have been a widening project. There might have been a second widening in 80 to make it 3 lanes each direction.
Right.
But in his, I found it interesting, he had did an AI rendering of what Fort Maitland would look like. And there was also a rendering of Fanning with his one shoulder, sleeves tucked under.
Nice. Just an AI generated. Yeah,
And,
I mean, it
and
doesn't
I
make much
corresponded,
sense, but yeah.
I did correspond with him, and he was asking about 2 things. One was the historic sign, and the other was Waterhouse reopening. And I told him that couldn't say when it was going to happen, but reach out to Danielle to find out when that would happen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's all we have on that then.
Can I just raise one other thing? It's Lake Lily. We have some signs that are pretty worn out. Right, there's a historic marker there and had a picture of people, the Waterhouse family or somebody. And so we should consider this in the context of whatever we do, the style of marker should be consistent. We should not imagine this is the last one where we ask. I know that John Beecham and others are looking to commemorate, what's already up here. Thurston writes about that this landscape, as a commemorative landscape, this is a moment to think about all of those and how to kind of place them in ways that are most appealing and, it's almost like Freedom Trail or something, I don't know. I'm just, not that that's the theme of it, but that we don't think of this in isolation from those other spots.
Right.
And we may not want to keep the one that's there where it is now. It's hardly readable from what I remember, but if you want to refurbish it, this would be the time to think about refurbishing it.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that gives me pause about the types of kind of more instructive ones that are, they're kind of just, they're color printed under plexiglass or something, you know, they're not made to last in Florida. I mean, you know, like the Blackberry Trail marker is
it's going to last.
It's going to last. It's a nice marker. I mean, you can, so I would kind of stick toward the more permanent style, but yeah.
But even if you did do the stand-up marker, you don't have to have, I guess that raises the issue again of the two sides. If we do, that's why we have to talk about this, I think, because these are decisions of whether to try to get more information or not. When you have them down lower, it sort of solves the problem of how much information and images. If we stick with that kind of marker, do we do that for everything? You know, or are there two different types of signs in the Lake Lily Park? Some of the more permanent cast iron, and others might be of a more temporary or modern style. Do we want to have that kind of variety, and how do you determine which items sort of merit that Blackberry Trail and which ones are more informational and maybe even updatable?
You know, and I'm with Scott on this, and I mean, we're bringing in a new library. We got, you know, a whole new downtown being developed. Everything's looking good. I mean, in Maitland, I always put Maitland into a very, you know, kind of, we're a little bit a town that should look good, and I think renewing those signs down there at Lake Lily would be a fantastic idea, because I've seen them. Yeah, they're faded from the sun and everything.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. There's one over by the basket. I forget what it's called. It's a environmental facility over there, and it has a signage. You know what I'm talking about? So there's a few of them. They're almost invisible to us now, but partly because you can't read them. But right. So can those be replaced, or should we continue to have things like that?
I mean, we have so many people walking around that lake and coming to town and walking there, and then to have, you know, that kind of quality on there, let's up our game and really make Maitland look what Maitland is. It's a great place. You know, it's a beautiful place.
And we may imagine that there are other spots in this cultural corridor area where it's pretty strong even, you know, if there might be some opportunity over there. And maybe not. I'm just thinking, though, we want to interpret this area and tell more stories. Would we imagine that these might be in other places strategically placed? Not to overdo it, but, you know, can we imagine other places in this historic downtown area that would merit that kind of signage?
Right.
But we don't have to answer every single question. I think there's certain things we should move forward with this. I'm with you to sort of accelerate on this particular sign. We don't have to solve everything, but I don't think we should kind of keep in mind that the decision we make on this, is it one-off, or is it going to be, you know, set a kind of precedent moving forward?
Right. Well, yeah, in the meantime, we can all go educate ourselves, take a walk around the lake over there, and take a look at the signs that are out. There's the water house, there's the basket for the non-functional, what do you call it?
Gabion?
Baffle box, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
baffle.
man.
And
Baffle box.
but yes,
So with that said, do we need to possibly engage Jay in
That's
the
what I
Parks
was-
and Rec?
that's what I was thinking.
Because we're now encroaching on his park, and should we not coordinate that with the Parks and Rec as well?
Yeah.
I think interpretation of this area is great. I will add one thing, in doing my research and going through old newspapers, there was about 5 papers around the state that picked up on that ceremony. So Jacksonville, West Palm Beach, Miami, Tampa Tribune, those were just a few. So it was very, very much noted throughout the state.
And I think Jay's very excited about coming to another meeting. Oh, good, more time at a meeting.
All right.
I just don't want us erecting a sign someday and he walks into the park and I'm like, where did that come from?
Okay, I think that's all on that. Let's, decision made. Yeah. Okay, on to reports. City manager, any
Yeah, just
reports?
real briefly.
Since that's a decision, do we need to make a formal decision?
I don't think that was really, I think that was a continuation of the
Okay,
discussion.
so we need to table it?
Yeah, the decision, I think, is to meet. You don't have to have a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're,
No, I'll already give us new action if you're gonna meet again.
yeah. All
So
right.
from an upcoming event standpoint, on January 17th, Saturday the 17th, 6:30, our Movie in the Park's going to be Wicked here at Independence Square. Saturday, January 31st at 11 a.m. is one of our other big events, the Maitland Police Department's Family Fun Day, which is our answer to National Night Out, where we do something a little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit nicer than National Night Out. It's been a huge success over the last couple of years, again, here in Independence Square. On Friday, February 6th at 6 is our next Get Down Downtown, again, here on Independence Lane and Independence Square. And on February 21st, we have another Community Cleanup Day, meeting at Lake Sedalia Beach at 9 a.m.
Awesome. Thanks. A lot going on in Independence Square and Lane and another. I want to just reiterate, since we're on the topic of historical markers, I made a valiant effort at trying to get a historical marker in the new Independence Park, and also to not name it Independence Park, but rather name it 14th Colony, because I wanted people to remember that we Floridians were actually against independence. We Floridians fought actively against the American independence movement, but nobody wants to remember that as the 14th Colony. It's just a little bit of history.
Dependence Park.
Yeah, we'll have another Royalty Park.
Royalty Park.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like a good t-shirt company.
Yeah, monarchy is back. Okay. Mr. City Attorney, any reports?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. All right. Lori, anything?
No, sir.
You leave yourself off? Okay. All right. Anybody in the council have any reports? Anything to bring up? Anything fancy?
Yeah. A couple things. One, just to reiterate, come out, support the chamber. It's a great way to really meet the business owners of the city, and I think it'd be a good opportunity, especially, Mark's going to be, kind of talking about the state of the city, but it's just a good way to get out and really meet the other Maitland residents. I mean, especially the people who are invested in Maitland. It's really good to get out and show them that we're out there supporting the chamber and supporting what they're doing. And the chamber's really come a long way in the last 5 years. So I just want to applaud them for what they've done, and I want to support them and just keep it going. Stronger the chamber, the better for the city. And lastly, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, out in Winter Garden, the Central Florida Highland Games. So I'll be out there.
Springs, Winter Garden.
What did I say? Oh,
Garden.
there's too many winters in this place. Winter Springs, sorry.
Garden.
I do a lot of work out in Winter Garden, that's why. I do a lot of stuff at Tanner Hall. So yes, Winter Springs this Saturday and Sunday is going to be beautiful. The temperature is going to be mid-60s, perfect time. Come out to the Clan Guthrie tent and see me.
Which park is that? Is it Central Winds?
Yeah, Central Winds. And it's a fantastic time. I tell you, Saturday is going to be busy. Sunday will be a little easier to go watch the bands. They have some of the best music and food. And even one of our own police officers is a drummer for the Rosie O'Grady's band.
Awesome.
Yeah. Officer Holland. Come out and see us all.
Is it Rosie over here?
Yeah.
Good. And maybe for the chamber, maybe we could do a little social media push for them or something. Or we could do that for, give them a little plug, get Mark an audience there.
Yeah. We do a little
You're not missing much. Thanks for pumping it up.
Oh, no, you do a great job, man. I'm always impressed with what Mark does out there. He's very thorough.
Yes. Okay, good. I think that's it for the evening. Let's call it adjourned. Aye.